Okay, in this video I'm going to continue with what I've started in previous ones, where I was talking about how to comment on financial indicators on ratios. And I said the first part in commenting is to identify the applicable ratio. So in another video I explained the first category of ratios, where you had to comment if you're commenting about risk, gearing and all that. So in this video I'm going to talk about the second category. If you see a question asking you to comment on liquidity, or the question is asking me to comment on working capital, or they can say management of cash, or they can say ability to pay short-term debts. So a question may come and is testing you on this type of category, on this category of indicators, where they can say to you, comment on liquidity, or comment on the working capital, or comment on the management of cash, or ability to pay short-term debts. So you're basically talking about liquidity ratios, and the first one that comes to your mind is going to be your current ratio. This has been done from grade 10. It's done from grade 10 up to grade 12. So what are we saying? In this particular case, you are comparing your current assets versus your current liabilities, and this ratio must always be is to 1. So it will be a certain figure is to 1. So what are we saying? If I give examples here, let's say your ratio is 2:1. It means you've got 2 rands in current assets that is available to pay 1 rand in current liabilities. So which means this business here, according to that ratio, the business is liquid, because you've got 2 rands that you can use to pay 1 rand. So we say it's liquid. Let's say it's 0.9:1. What this scenario shows you is that the business does not have enough current assets to pay current liabilities. In other words, during the time when you need to pay what you owe to your creditors, you will not have enough money. So in this case, we say the business is illiquid. So in the first scenario, the business is liquid. Why is it liquid? Because your current assets are more than your current liabilities. And in the second scenario, your current assets are less than your current liabilities. Now, the second category is your acid test. So your acid test is used to check the business ability to pay current liabilities in the event that they are unable to sell their inventory. So your formula will normally be your current assets minus inventory is to current liabilities. And your ratio must still be X:1, something is to 1. What does this mean? The difference when you're now commenting on the 2 is that with your current ratio, you are checking your total current assets versus your total current liabilities. In other words, does the business have enough current assets to pay current liabilities? But in the second one, in the asset test, you are saying in the event that the business is unable to sell stock, in the event that the business is unable to sell inventory, do they still have enough current assets to pay current liabilities? So when you then comment, you will say if the business is able to sell stock, they either have more, they have enough, or they do not have enough as the current assets to pay current liabilities. And then to differentiate it from the asset test, you say in the event that the business is unable to sell its inventory, does the business still have an ability to pay current liabilities? Now, and then number 3, I normally want to combine number 3 and number 4, right? It's your debtors collection period. That's 1. And then it's your creditors payment period. So you need to understand that debtors collection and creditors payment, they are part of liquidity, because when you're talking of working capital, you're normally referring to your current assets, that is your trading stock, your inventory, your debtors and your creditors. So what are we saying? The ideal scenario is that your debtors must pay first. You must receive first before then you pay later. So what we are saying here is that the ideal scenario is that you need to receive money from your debtors in order for you to make a payment to your creditors. So in negotiating, businesses will normally negotiate a long creditors payment period so that they have enough time to collect from their debtors to avoid a cash flow problem. Because if you have to pay your creditors before your debtors pay you, it means you're going to end up with you might end up with a cash flow problem where you do not have money to pay your creditors, where you have to where you have to possibly sometimes you have to borrow short term in order for you to pay your creditors. So the ideal scenario is that your debtors must pay you before you pay your creditors. Now, to explain further on this one, I can say, let's say in 2024, debtors collection period is 10 days. Then in 2023, debtors collection period was 15 days. So what this scenario shows me is that in 2023, it was taking 15 days for debtors to pay me, but now in 2024, it's taking 10 days for them to pay me. This is an ideal, it's a good scenario because it means your debtors are paying earlier. So here, debtors are paying earlier, right? Which is a good thing. You want your debtors to pay you earlier. But if I switch around this and say the debtors collection last year was 10 days, but now it has gone up to 15 days. This is not a good scenario because it means that debtors are taking long. So in this case, they are taking long. They're taking long to pay. This is not a good scenario. So what we are saying is that you look at are debtors paying earlier or are debtors taking too long to pay. Now, the same way that you comment here, you can use it for your creditors collection period as well. Let's say in 23, it was 10 and now it's 15. It means the business is taking longer to pay their creditors. Now, if you reverse that and it's a 15 and a 10, it means you're paying your creditors earlier. But remember, at the end of the day, in order for it to make sense, you always need to compare your debtors collection period with your creditors payment period so that we see, like I said, that it is always critical that your debtors are paid after you've paid it is always critical that your creditors are paid after your debtors have already paid you. Now, and then the last two categories, last two in this category, the first one is your stock holding period, which is number 5, stock holding period. I normally want to look at it together with the stock turnover rate. So what are we talking about? With the stock holding period, we are saying for how many days? How many days is the business holding on to stock? Stock turnover rate, we're talking of the speed at which business sells stock. That's what we're looking at. So we are saying, so the two of them are related in that if your stock turnover rate goes up, normally the stock holding period will go down. So if stock turnover rate goes up, your stock holding period will normally go down. And then if your stock turnover rate goes down, your stock holding period will go up. What it means is that if I'm selling my stock faster, in this case here, the stock is being sold faster, it means you're going to end up with a less number of days. Let me say less days here. You keep holding on to stock for less days. If stock is selling very slowly, it means you're going to hold on to stock for more days. So they are related in that the faster you sell your stock, the less days you're going to keep stock. The slower you sell your stock, the more days you're going to keep your stock. So in the meantime, to summarize and close off this video, take note, there are 6 very important ratios that you need to remember when you have to comment on liquidity, working capital, or the management of cash. So we said is the current ratio, right? Is the asset test, is the debtors collection period, is the creditors payment period, is the stock turnover rate, in the stock holding period. Now, it is very important. These ones are related in that here you are selling stock. In the second one, no stock is sold. Here it is very critical that debtors pay before you pay your creditors. In the last one, it is very critical for you to know that if this one goes up, if your stock turnover rate goes up, then your holding period is going to go down, and vice versa.